Hello again, everyone. Thanks for all of your amazing positive feedback on the last video. I decided it was tolerable enough to give it another go, so here we are. Also, I don't know if you noticed up there in the title space, but there's, well, a title. I decided to take a quote from the first video and call this vlog Useless Information That Makes You Look Really Smart, or Useless Information for short. I feel like this is fairly indicative of the content that you're going to find in these videos, so there you go. This week's video is going to cover, to the best of my minuscule ability, Bernini's Fontana dei Quattro Fiumi, a phenomenal work by phenomenal artists, which you may or may not know from its infamous cameo in the Ron Howard film Angels and Demons. So let's get going. The Fontana dei Quattro Fiumi was designed in 1651 by Gian Lorenzo Bernini. A bit of background on Bernini: he is often considered the star of his time, designing and completing dozens of quintessential Baroque Italian pieces during his lifetime. And guys, he was good. He was more or less the golden child of the Vatican, amassing many important commissions associated with the papal families and the Counter-Reformation movement, but those are all subjects for another day. Back to the fountain. The Fontana dei Quattro Fiumi means the Fountain of the Four Rivers. Unlike Fontana dei Quattro Formaggi, the title I kept trying to say when I was first learning about it, which translates to Fountain of the Four Cheeses, which, as delicious as that sounds, is not correct. The fountain, topped off by a huge Egyptian-style obelisk, was commissioned by Pope Innocent X to be placed in the Piazza Navona in front of the Pope's family home, the Palazzo Pamphili, in Rome. And as if this weren't quite enough to showcase their involvement in the project, they sponsored a huge festival to take place around the unveiling of the work. Unfortunately, the commission of the public fountain came at a difficult time for the Papal States. Many citizens resented its building, due largely to the fact that Innocent used public funds to make payment in the midst of an intense famine, and also because it was going to displace dozens of hardworking street vendors. These outraged citizens threatened a riot and even started carving graffiti into the stone construction blocks. Things like, "We do not want fountains and obelisks, it is bread that we want," which I'm sure sounds a lot more threatening in 17th century Italian. In any case, once revealed, apparently all fell quiet in awe and rapture at Bernini's architectural genius. Seriously, guys, he was really that good. The fountain itself is divided into 4 separate sections that hold up the obelisk on top, each leg decorated with a god representing a major river from each of the, at the time known, continents, along with some native plants and animals. The Danube of Europe is shown touching the papal coat of arms on the obelisk because it is the closest geographically to Rome. There's a largemouth fish in the water at his feet and a galloping horse emerging the nearest arch. Then there's the Nile, for Africa. This god has his head covered with a cloth, an allegory for the mystery surrounding the source of the Nile River. He's seated in his little throne with a huge palm tree and a surprisingly peaceful lion just drinking from the fountain pool. The Ganges of Asia is shown with an oar representing its navigability. And that just leaves the Mississippi for the Americas, right? No. The river that represents the Americas in the New World is not the Mississippi or even the Amazon, but rather the Rio de la Plata, or the Silver River. The Plata is a smaller river that lets out in the Atlantic in southern Uruguay near Buenos Aires. Its personification is depicted sitting on a throne of coins, the New World's riches, while being frightened by a large snake, a symbol of the fear that the wealthy had that their riches would be stolen out from underneath them. You know, riches and money that weren't really theirs to begin with. Kind of ironic, I suppose. But I really do have to point out one image that gave us all a good laugh in my art history class, and that's the animal Bernini chose to carve for the Plata. It's... well, let's look at a picture. What the fuck was that? The best we could come up with in class is that it was some sort of armadillo-alligator hybrid. An alladillo. A armagator? Gatordillo? In reality, it was most likely just one animal or the other, but one has to remember that back in those days, very few people had actually been to the Americas and had seen indigenous life there, so it's highly probable that it's simply a creature distorted by word-of-mouth descriptions, similar to playing a game of telephone, or listening to your uncle's fish story, wherein the fish gets larger and larger each time he tells it until he starts claiming that he single-handedly slayed the kraken when you're just about 90% sure that it was a 3-pound bass when you were 6. Anyway, Bernini's fusion of sculptural art and architecture has been praised as revolutionary for its time. His characteristic dynamism is well showcased in this work, and we can all agree he did a pretty damn good job, despite all the crazy business initially surrounding the project. So that's all I have for you lot today. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments below or on Tumblr, emilyt10.tumblr.com/ask. And again, please feel free to suggest subjects for next time. Now, go and be smart, my lovelies.